Okay, hello. Hello, Linda.
Hi,
Hello. Nice to see you. I hear you. You hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you. Can you
Wonderful.
see, can you see me?
Yes, I do see you. Yes. Every time you speak, you get on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, there,
Yes. Yes.
ex-
And if you have a question, you can just, talk, just say your question and I will address it.
great. I do have a I do have a question,
Yeah.
actually. Um,
Hello, Kathy.
yeah, hello, there's another lady.
Kathy.
Um, I've been having this problem with guilt, and I just wanted to talk to you about that.
You said
Um,
guilt, you said?
guilt, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
feeling guilt, yeah. Um, there's a friend that I've had just for a couple of years, and every now and again we get together and have coffee and um, just for an hour or something. And I just, can you still hear me? Because you've
Yeah.
frozen on the screen.
I do
The,
hear. Yes.
oh, and lately I really don't want to go over there anymore because I just don't feel joyful. But the only reason I think of going over there is because I feel really. If I did go over there or ring him up and say how you going, it would only be out of guilt, um, because I'm sort of worried that, oh, I'm not a very nice person if I
Mm-hmm.
don't. But I don't feel the joy. He's a very negative person,
Yeah.
and um, it just very. So I get this pang of guilt, and I think, oh, you should ring him. And then I think, no, I just don't. I really don't feel to do it anymore.
Right.
Um, yeah. Did you ever have that experience?
Oh yeah. Of
Your,
course. Of course. Of course. I've had this experience many, many times. Um, so what really matters is the happiness, is the beauty, the love, the joy, the friendship, the joy of being together. That's what really matters. When you are with somebody and you're sharing the joy, you're sharing the love, you're sharing the beauty, it is wonderful. Linda, did I lose you? Hello, Linda. Boy, I think it's possible that somehow we lost Linda. I will still address her question. I hope she's able to come back. One moment, let me see what happened here. Yeah, I'm re-inviting Linda. And, see if so. I will continue addressing Linda's question because if we lost her for some technical reason, she's in Australia. She will be able to. Oh, Linda, you are back. I see you. Okay, can you hear me now,
I
Linda?
can, sorry, Magdi, I tried to mute my microphone. When I
Okay,
went to mute it, I just got cut off.
okay, okay. So then leave it on. So let
Yeah.
me let me come back to your question. So as I was saying previously, what matters in relationships is the happiness, is the joy, the shared beauty, the peace, the love, the enjoyment, and nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else. So when you are giving in to fear or to guilt, you are feeding it. You are feeding that sense of that false sense of self that imagines itself to be some kind of entity that must live according to some principles that are all abstract principles, while love presence, happiness, joy, peace, that is not abstract. That is totally real. When you are happy, when you're at peace, you know it. When you are unhappy, then you know that there is a separate me. I must, I should, why didn't I, self-judgment, judging yourself, judging the other. All of that is a complete waste of energy, and it feeds the illusion of separation, meaning it feeds the impression that you are a separate person. When you are happy, there is no me and no you. There is just the happiness. When you are unhappy, there is a me. There is a separate me and a separate other. And when you give in, Linda, to that, you're feeding it.
Well, I'm glad I haven't been giving into it, because so many times in my life, most of the things that I've done have been out of a sense of guilt or fear. And I've sometimes just had to literally force myself not to get on the phone, thinking that's going to relieve my guilt and fear. but I know, and I see him when I'm in that as a separate self, and I think, oh, the poor man, he's got no friends, and look at him. I'm not seeing him as, whole and complete either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If there are thoughts that arise for you about this person being lonely or so, and that maybe it um, might be a nice thing for him to have some company, and it's not.
Thinking that's going to relieve my guilt and fear. but I know, and I see him when I'm in that as a separate self, and I think, oh, the poor man, he's got no friends, and look at him. I'm not seeing him as, whole and complete either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If there is something going on rise for you about this person being lonely, or you shut your mic for a minute. Yes, right, because there was an echo. As soon as I finish talking with Linda, Kathy, then Linda will mute her mic, and you can unmute yours. Otherwise, it makes all sorts of echo. So coming back to Linda, but what I was saying earlier, in case you still feel that this person it would be nice for this person to have some company, even just somebody visiting them or calling them, on occasion, and it's and it's coming out of guilt. Maybe you can take the guilt out of the picture and just do an act of kindness, but without the guilt. In other words, you can call this person and say hello to them, even though it's not a very enjoyable conversation. You can limit it to maybe 5 minutes, without feeling guilty. Instead, just it's as if you're going to water a dried plant in your garden. There is a plant that is dry and you need to water it. You think it'd be a nice thing to water it. You don't really have to, but hey, it can't really hurt you, and it'll make this person, have a little company for feel some companionship. So as long as you don't do it out of guilt, and maybe you do it out of an offering,
Out of love.
Yes, an act of kindness, an act of love is is sweet act. You could like imagine this person to be your brother, and just I have five brothers, and some of them I don't like to talk with more than 5 minutes, really, to be honest. So I limit my conversation with them to a few minutes. So you could also maintain this sort of controlled relationship, but definitely keeping the guilt out of it, because the guilt, it feeds the me thing, while an act of kindness is just an offering. It's You're not trying to prove anything to anybody. You're simply being a good neighbor, a good friend. So you can experiment with that, and
Mm.
see if it's possible. I'm not saying that it is, but you will know if it is, and how far you can go with that without getting into this whole psychological thing about, oh, am I a good person, am I a bad person? You're not a person, Linda. You are conscious. You are consciousness. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much, Magdi. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Experiment with
Thank
it. See how it goes.
Okay. I still don't I have no idea how to mute
Okay.
this.
If
So I'll
you
just be very, very quiet.
if you move your cursor up to the top of the screen, you
Yeah.
you will see a teeny tiny window with a character with a plus in it. Then there is a mic right next to it. Do you see it or no? Right on your.
Oh, I don't actually have a little character with a plus,
You
but
don't?
I see what I did before when I went to mute. I accidentally pressed the end call thing,
Oh,
but
okay.
I cannot see a
A mute thing.
button with a plus. Let
Okay.
me just.
Do you see a mic? A mic?
No, I don't have a mic.
You don't have a mic.
I
Uh,
don't have. I have.
why don't just move your cursor around, especially towards the top of the screen.
Okay.
Or maybe it's to the left of your screen. I don't know. It depends. But mine is on the top, at the top of the screen.
I don't have anything
Okay.
except that what I have is the little Skype window. Oh yeah, mute microphone. Oh, I found it. It's okay.
Try it.
Thank you.
Try it. Let's see.
I got it.
Okay. Okay. That worked. So now, Linda, now I'm sorry, Kathy, you could unmute your mic if you want to ask a question. Good. Hello, Kathy. Can you hear me? Okay. I am not hearing you, Kathy. So maybe you want to increase the volume, see if there is a volume thing on um, your computer volume. Let me see. I don't hear you. You're speaking. I see you, but I don't hear you. Let me see if there is anything I can do on my end. One moment. Let me see. Control room. Let me see. Kathy. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, Kathy, try again. Uh, no, I don't. Let me see. Okay, Kathy, try talking again. Okay, so there is a volume issue with your computer. Um, See if you can unmute your computer is on mute. You need to unmute your computer, not the screen, because you already unscreen you already unmuted the Hangout, which is good. But probably on your laptop or on your computer there might be a mute button. I still can't hear you. Okay, you know what you could do, Kathy, is if you go to the chat window. Do you have a chat window? Up on the left of the screen, if you move your cursor to the left of the screen, there is a little blue icon with white lines. Okay, can you hear me, Kathy? Okay, you open the chat. Uh, you can send me you can write your question. Okay. I just sent you a little chat note saying, Kathy, you can write your question here. So yeah. Unfortunately, I am unable to hear you, Kathy. Oh, okay. I see your question, Kathy. How can I connect with myself more as a presence, less as a person? Okay, okay. Uh, you know, Kathy, this question assumes that you are a separate self. In other words, this question comes from the belief that you are a personal body-mind. This question comes from the belief that you are a mortal body, that you are a person. And so the person that you believe you are is supposedly asking a question, how can I connect more with the absolute? How can I connect with the self? It's really important that you recognize that, what I just said right now. Excuse me. In other words, it's really important, Kathy, that you recognize that this question comes from the assumption, from the belief that you are a woman, that you are a human being, that you are a mortal body mind. It's very, very important that you understand that you understand that the source of this question is that belief, that the source of the question is the belief that I am Kathy asking a question to somebody else, Magdi. So that is the core of my answer to you. But I'm going to say some more. To connect with the self, meaning with the absolute, you need to inquire, you need to investigate. You need to investigate, am I indeed a person? The way you investigate, am I indeed a mortal body-mind, is not by relying on your belief systems, but it is in looking directly at your experience, not looking at your feelings, not looking at what are the latest theories about reality, but in looking directly at your experience. And there is only one time and one place to look directly at your experience. There is only one time and one place to investigate what you truly are, which is this very moment, this very instant. It is always this very instant, Kathy. So this investigation is eternal. This inquiry is eternal. This contemplation is eternal. And as you undergo this contemplation, the road becomes smoother and smoother, and the forest that seemed so dense becomes thinner and thinner, thinner and thinner, and there is more and more clearing and clarity. But this clarity is not possible without the inquiry, is not possible without the investigation. And the core question that you are investigating, Kathy, is, am I indeed a separate person? And if so, where and what is this separation? So you look right now, and you ask yourself, this very moment, where is there a separate line? Where is there a demarcation line? Where is there a frontier, an actual demarcation line, an actual separation between anything, for example, between myself and the hearing of this voice? What is the separation in my experience right now between myself, I, that hears these words, because you are hearing these words right now, Kathy. There is no doubt about that. What is the separation, if any, between the hearing of these words and you? Is there any separation between yourself, meaning the consciousness, meaning the awareness that perceives the screen right now, and the perception? There is no separation, however what? Okay, so Kathy says there is no separation, however the body fools me into thinking there is separation. The body is perceived. What do you mean by the body fools you? How can something that you perceive fool you? The body, what do you mean by the body? The body fools me into thinking there is separation. Physical body seems separate from what is around me. Okay, so let's look at that. Let's look at that. So right now, Kathy, what is your experience of the physical body? Right now, turn your attention, and you can do that as well, Linda. Turn your attention to right now, what is my experience of the physical body? When you turn your attention to this, you will find bodily sensations. Yes? You will find maybe the breath, or a feeling in your belly, or a feeling in your shoulders, or you will find some bodily sensation, or a feeling in your arm, or you might also look at your hand, Linda, and your body experience could also be a perception, right? For example, if you look at your leg, it's a perception, yes? Or if you look at yourself in the mirror, for example, it's a perception, yes? So right now, the experience of your physical body is sensation, bodily sensations, and possibly perceptions. Yes, you agree with me? Yes. So let's look at the sensation. Let's say, for example, let's turn our attention to the sensation of our belly. So this sensation, this experience that you are having, how far apart is it from you? How far is this sensation from you that is perceiving you, the awareness that is perceiving the sensation? Yes? There is awareness of the sensation of your belly, yes? How far is this sensation from the awareness that perceives it?
It feels like there is a gap.
Okay, so let's go to that. So there is a feeling of a gap, yes, Linda? So this feeling, how far is this feeling of a gap. We call it a feeling of a gap. How far is this feeling from you, the awareness that perceives that feeling of a gap?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just baffled by your questions.
Yes, I understand. Well,
Absolutely. I'm trying to. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. This is good. This is good. To be baffled is good. Because you see, in ignorance, meaning ignorance, I mean by ignorance the belief that I am a separate entity and there is an external world. I refer to that as ignorance. In ignorance, there is the assumption that there is a me out here and an experience out there, and I am perceiving, for example, my body out there. But when we look at the question and we're looking at our experience this very moment, what is the distance between the awareness that hears these words and the hearing? What is the awareness between the sensation of a gap? What is the distance between that sensation and the awareness that perceives that sensation? You will find that there is none, that there is zero distance between the hearing of this voice and the awareness, meaning you, that hears these words. Because it is you as awareness that hears these words. It's not your neighbor, it's you. You are this awareness that is hearing these words right now. And the distance between you and the hearing is zero, none, nada, nunca. So there is zero distance between you and the perception of the sensation.
Are
Or,
you saying?
yes, Linda?
Are you talk when you say there's zero distance between the you? Are you referring to the truth of what I am, not
Exactly.
not
Yes,
all the crap?
you got it. You got it. I am not referring to the crap.
Okay.
No, I am referring to the awareness, the consciousness that right here, right now is perceiving this screen. You are perceiving this screen. There is a reality right now that is the awareness, the consciousness, the presence that perceives this screen. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that. There is zero distance between that and the perception of the screen.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, now I comprehend.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Okay.
coming back to Kathy's question. Kathy's question, I cannot hear you, Kathy. I see you moving your lips, Kathy, but I don't hear you. I'm so sorry. We'll have to figure out how to unmute. There is something in your laptop or in your computer that is muted, but it's not in the Hangout, because in the Hangout I could see that you are unmuted, but unfortunately it's something with your system. But we'll work around it as best we can. I'm sure we'll figure it out for the next time. But coming back to Kathy's question, that basically Kathy's question was that her body, her physical body, seems separate from what is around her. That is the question that Kathy had, and we're still looking at that question. So just to reiterate what I was sharing with you. First, we were looking at what is the physical body in our experience right now. And the physical body, we've agreed that our experience of the physical body this very moment is bodily sensations and possibly perceptions, like when we're looking at our hand. So my question was, how far, what is the distance between the sensation, the bodily sensation, which is the body, and the awareness that perceives this bodily sensation? And the answer is 0. In other words, there is no distance between I as awareness, I as consciousness, and the body. Meaning I am, or another, let's say, put it another way, the body experience is made out of awareness. The sensation, the bodily sensation, is made out of awareness. The bodily perception, meaning perceiving the body, is a perception, and the perception is made out of awareness. So there is no separation between awareness and what we refer to as the physical body. Okay, so the next thing is, it seems that there is a separation between the physical body and what is around me. Okay, so now I know we've established that consciousness or awareness and the physical body, what we refer to as the physical body, meaning bodily sensations and excuse me, one moment. We've established that the I as awareness and the body, meaning bodily sensations and bodily perceptions, are one. Next is the world around me. The table, the chair, the lamp, the wall, right? So let's look at the wall. Is there a wall nearby? Look at the wall. Or at the lamp, or at the table, whatever. And ask yourself the following question. What is the distance between the awareness that perceives the lamp and the perception of the lamp? You're aware that you perceive the lamp, yes? Or you perceive the table, yeah? That it is you that is aware of this perception. You agree? Yes. You, I, no need to call it Kathy or call it Linda or Magdi, just I prefer to use I awareness, perceive this lamp. Actually, I don't necessarily perceive the lamp. I perceive my perception of the lamp. I perceive my perception. How far are you from your perception? What is the distance between you and your perception? Kathy? But yeah. Yes, there is no distance between you. I know there is a but. I know. Kathy is writing, I guess none, but I thought the question. Kathy is writing, but I thought the question would be between me and the object of awareness. Okay, we're looking at that. So the object of awareness is the table, right? Is that the object, the table? Would you agree with me? I cannot hear you, Kathy. Yes, you're okay. So the object of awareness is the table. So what is the distance between me and the object of awareness? Me, when you say me, when I say me, I refer to awareness. Because this very moment, I am not a man or a woman. I am pure awareness. For me to be a man right now or a woman right now, to be of a certain age and so on, I have to go to memory. I have to go to some learned, I have to go to my files and folders. But this very moment in satsang, we don't go to the files and folders because we are in the direct presence. So I, this very moment, is awareness. I as awareness. So the question is, what is the distance between I as awareness and the object of awareness, meaning the table? The table is the object of awareness. Now, for the object of awareness to arise, it has to arise in awareness, yes? Because if it does not arise in awareness, there is no table. The table arises in awareness, yes? And awareness experiences the table. It experiences a perception or a sensation of something called a table. But it's actually experiencing the perception or the sensation, yes? The perception is when you look at the table, and the sensation is when you put your hand on the table. You perceive the perception or the sensation of the table. And the perception or the sensation of the table is made out of what? It is made out of your knowing, your knowingness. It's made out of your experience, of awareness. You cannot experience the table without awareness, without your knowingness, without your beingness. There is no table outside of awareness. So your experience of the table is actually your experience of awareness taking on the form of a table. So it's awareness experiencing itself as a table without any separation. There is no separation between you and yourself, you and the forms that you take. There is no separation between water and ice. There is no separation between water and steam. There is no separation between awareness and the forms that awareness takes.
Can I just ask something?
Yeah.
When I experience my body, I experience sensations, I feel stuff. When I look at the table, I don't experience, well, that's what I'm telling myself anyway. I don't feel the table unless I touch it with my hand. It doesn't seem to be quite the same. I don't feel what the table's feeling. Or maybe tables don't feel anything.
Well,
I don't know. There seems to be a little difference.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, your experience of the body, of body sensations, is different than the experience of perceiving a table. In the same way that your experience of eating a jelly sandwich is different from. Oops, we just lost Linda. In the same way, your experience of sorry, let me try to bring Linda back. I don't know what happened. Let me see what happened here. Sorry, Kathy, we just lost Linda, so I'm just bringing her back. Maybe she pressed the wrong button, and we'll come back to her question. Let's suspend her question for now. Oh, hello, Linda, you're back. Okay, you pressed the wrong button again. What happened?
I pressed the hang up button instead of the mute button.
Okay.
Please forgive me.
Okay. You don't need to press the mute button. We can stay together this way. So
okay.
Your question, what you were saying is that my experience of my bodily sensations and the experience of the table are different, and it's true. They are different in the content, meaning when you are having a meal, you have a salad, you have a meal, you have dessert. They're all different. They have different qualities, but they're all part of the same meal. So the content of consciousness can change, meaning the objects that appear in consciousness can change, but the awareness that perceives does not change. In other words, this morning when you woke up and you had breakfast, or maybe it's morning up there, I don't know what time it is out there, but when you woke up and you had breakfast, it's the same awareness that was having cereal than the awareness that is right now hearing these words. The content is different. The feel of the cereal when you are eating it is different than being here right now in this conversation hearing these words. True, the table has the perception of a table is different from the perception of a bodily sensation only in the content. The content, meaning the image on the screen, varies, but the screen, which is awareness or consciousness, is the same. We usually identify with the bodily sensation rather than with the table. Right? Yes.
Yeah.
We say, well, I am the body, but I am not the table. Because the bodily sensations are more constant in a way. They're more present. They're closer to us. They're more companions to us.
But how can they be closer when you said there's no distance?
Right.
And I know they because it feels closer.
Right.
But if it feels closer, it's
seem,
like a distance.
Right. They seem closer. They really are not closer because the actual distance is zero. But if you look, for example, at like how we get more attached to our family than to the children of the neighbors, right? We feel closer to our family, to people who live in our house, than the people who live in the house next door, don't we? We do. And why is that? I mean, we see them every day. We wake up in the morning. I mean, if you're living with family, they're there. Your mom, your dad, your kids, whatever, your cousins are there every day. So there's a tendency to identify through the senses with what statistically we experience more frequently. And somehow we experience more frequently the bodily sensations than we experience the table.
Yeah, that's interesting because when I look at my neighbours, they're closer to me in this physical distance than my family. Yet I can believe that I'm closer to my family.
Yes.
It's all internal. It's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's random. It's really random. And the key thing to understand about this is that although the images that appear on the screen vary, like the weather, they vary. The screen, meaning awareness or consciousness, the presence that I am, does not vary.
The screen, I thought the screen was something different to the I am presence. I thought the screen was like the objects appearing and the I am.
Well, the way I use the metaphor is that the screen is the I am and the images appearing is the world of forms, the mind, the body, mind, world.
They're the images that seem to be on the screen, but the screen is, okay.
Yeah, so the metaphor has two dimensions to it, Linda. First, the screen is the screen of consciousness, and the images is the world, the body, and mind that keep changing. Right? The second aspect, the second part of the metaphor is that the images are made out of the screen. In other words, there isn't an external reality, the reality of the images, that is separate from the reality of the screen. The reality of the images is made out of the consciousness that knows them, that perceives them. In other words, the images on the screen arise from the screen. It's as if it's a screen that has an intelligence that it can transform itself into all sorts of images, events, forms, feelings, sensations, thoughts.
So is it also like, sort of like, that the awareness in a way projects these images out and gives us the impression that we're separate from them, like
Yeah.
a projection,
Well,
but we're not actually separate from them because it's all coming from the one thing.
right. In a way, yes. The consciousness projects out of itself images of a world, of a body, and of a mind, but it also projects an impression, a me impression, like a personal impression.
Yeah.
So in other words, me, what we refer to as me, as the separate self, is a projection out of the screen. It's made out of the screen. It's made out of awareness itself that takes on the form of a separate person that forgets that its substance is consciousness. So the person that is created by, conceived and created by consciousness is created and is made to forget. Like consciousness forgets itself, forgets that it has created this impression. It forgets it, and then at some point it says, "Well, it's time for me to remember." And when it says it's time for me to remember, that is where the spiritual journey starts. We start
Yeah.
to return home. We start to recollect God, to recollect our true nature, to recollect the truth. The whole play is made out of consciousness because there is only one reality,
Mm.
not two, only one reality, the reality of consciousness.
And so not only do I project out an image of myself as a separate person, but I also project out images of every other body
Yeah,
as separate persons.
absolutely, absolutely.
Where, yeah, yeah,
All the projections, everything, yeah, that you project is made out of consciousness and
yeah,
is projected by consciousness. And at some point, consciousness starts to recollecting that, oh, that's the play that I'm playing. That is my play. And it starts to recollect, to remember that it is the only player in town.
it's sort of like you turn around and you look back, sort of, um, yeah, instead of, yeah, I
It's,
can't really explain it, but
it's
it's like you turn back and look within instead of looking without, trying to find out who
yes,
you are or what you are, and
yes,
looking at outside things. You start to turn back to
yes,
look at, instead of looking out at the billions and billions of separate things, you turn back to the one thing,
right. And
the one
once
consciousness.
right, and once you realize it is all one thing, then looking in and looking out don't matter anymore because there is no more looking out. It's all made out of that one substance. The whole the whole in and out dichotomy ceases to have any significance.
Is that sort of like lately, the last few days, I've beginning to think to myself, there really doesn't seem to be an inside and an outside. You know, that idea of an inside and an outside. Is it that sort of a thing?
Right, because
Yeah.
if you look at the inside and the outside, you know, usually we distinguish the inside and outside by our body, the skin. We say outside of our skin is the outside, and inside of my skin is inside. That's at the body level. And at the mental level, we have an image of a me. And we say inside my head, but it's sort of like a vague, it's not like the actual physical head, but inside me as my head is me, and outside is the world. But if when you start investigating, like I was talking, earlier with Kathy, you start investigating your experience. Where is that line, that actual line that separates the inside of my head and the outside world? You will find that it's just a belief. There isn't an actual there is an actual separating line. And if there was a separating line, then you can ask yourself, what is it that would perceive the separating line? If there is an actual demarcation line, an actual border, what is it that would perceive this border? Because that border must be known. If it's not known, then it doesn't exist. So something perceives it. Whatever it is that perceives it, is a reality that's bigger than it, that encompasses both sides. Because when you're perceiving a border, you're perceiving both the side on the left side of the border, of the line, and the side that is on the right side. So there is a reality that perceives both. If there were two realities, the inside reality and the outside reality, there would be a reality that would perceive both of them, that would know both of them, and that is sort of the reality, that one reality that encompasses all quotes unquote sub-realities. So we come back to that one reality. Kathy, I'm sorry, there is a question from Kathy. Sorry it takes so long. One moment, Kathy. So the question is, Magdi, how did you come to identify yourself more as a presence than a person? I did not, do anything really, Kathy. I just was interested and am interested in the truth. So at some point in my exploration, it started becoming clear that there were so many beliefs, so many unsubstantiated, am I saying it right? Unsubstantiated, unproven beliefs, unfounded beliefs that I lived by. And the main belief that I woke up to was the belief in separation, the belief that I am this mortal body mind. So I started contemplating, well, wait a minute, if I am this body mind, then what is it that knows it? There is something that knows these sensations, that knows these perceptions that I refer to as the body. So it's the investigation process that reveals to you that there is something that is not a form, that is not in time and space, that is not a product of thought, that is a direct experience that knows this perception, and that is the reality of this perception. That is the reality of this experience. So there is a reality to your experience right now, Kathy. And that reality is the consciousness. And that consciousness is not contained. In other words, there isn't a box or a package or a balloon around it. When you investigate whether consciousness is contained, you will find no edges, no borders to it, Kathy. And the way to look at that is directly at your experience. Because I'm not talking about anything abstract. I'm talking about the reality that perceives this screen right now, that perceives this perception right now. So the belief systems, when you are investigating them, when you're inquiring about your belief structure, it starts to thin out. And you do it simply out of love for truth, not in order to become anything, just out of love for truth. Because love for truth is inspired by the divine. It has an inspiration that is larger than the mind. So Kathy writes, I don't know how to deconstruct my beliefs. Well, you know, Kathy, you don't know where to start. Okay, first, start by recognizing that what you take to be a fact, for example, that you are a woman, is a belief. The body is a woman, but you are not a woman. Also, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kathy. You were writing something. That seems like a fine line. Well, you know, you have to look at the fine lines. You have to look at the fine lines, and don't underestimate those fine lines, Kathy. The body is a woman, meaning it's a female body. You can look at the microscope, you can look at it physically. It's not a male body, it's a female body. But you are not the body. That's a good place to start. You ask where to start. Start with that. This body is a female body. There is no doubt about that. We all agree. We've agreed, you know, females and males, that's what we call them. Okay, fine. But I am not my body. So you need to inquire, investigate that. What might help you is to deconstruct what the body is. Meaning, look closer. The way you look closer is you step towards it. You ask, okay, well, what is the body? Tell me what you are. So you get closer, and the body tells you, I'm going to fill in the blanks. The body will tell you that I am sensations. You can look at it right now. You can close your eyes and look at the body. You can feel sensations, or you don't have to close your eyes, but whatever, you can look and you will notice sensations. We refer to them as bodily sensations. These bodily sensations arise to you, you perceive them. You perceive this sensation. Also, you perceive the perception, like the perception of, as I was saying earlier, of your hand or of your leg. So there is the body, meaning the body sensation, and there is you, the awareness. You ask me, how does this presence feel to you? How does this presence feel to me? It's peace, peace and tranquility. It is a causeless freedom, causeless peace and happiness and beauty and tranquility. So investigate that the body appears to me, no problem. The body is female, but I am not a female. I am not the body. I am the consciousness that perceives. The perception comes and goes, but the consciousness that perceives does not come and go. That's a good place to start. Kathy just wrote, and I think that I am the body. Okay, Kathy. Oh, you want to write something else? Okay, I think I'm the body because it gives me the most frequent sensations. Question mark. Yeah, yeah. You think you are the body because there are constant sensations. Right, most frequent sensations. You're right. Like I was saying, talking before, saying that we identify with our family because they're the most frequent people we see. We brought up with them. We identify with them. We identify with our family. But if we were raised by the neighbor, we would identify with the neighbor. If we were raised by the wolves, we would identify with the wolves. So yeah, the body identification is because it's the most frequent sensation. But what you could contemplate, Kathy, is that these sensations, you perceive them. And this you that perceives the sensation is not a sensation, is awareness, is not an object. It perceives objects, and temporarily it takes on the form of what it perceives, but then the form changes and it takes on the form of something else, and then that changes again and it takes on the form of that. So it keeps metamorphosing, but it remains consciousness. So it's a dancing consciousness. It's a consciousness with a million arms and a million legs and a million bellies and a million heads and a million bodies and a million tails and it's Shiva, the million hands and million legs and million bodies goddess. Not one distinct, limited, personal body. That's just a thought that consciousness perceives. Even the thought of a fixed body, that thought is made out of consciousness that perceives it, that creates it, that conceives it, and that experiences it. And the reality is the reality of consciousness. Because what is real is not temporary, is eternal. If something is real today on Friday and tomorrow on Saturday it's not real, or it's less real, we do not refer to that as a reality. We refer to that as the weather. But the reality doesn't change. So Kathy writes, so I create my experience, question mark. Well, Kathy, it depends what you mean by I. I as a personal entity is created by consciousness, is a dream that consciousness is having. I as Kathy, as Magdi, as a man, as a woman, as tall, as short, as a blonde, as a brunette, as all that, that I that is born and that dies, and all that, those forms are the dream of consciousness. So when you ask, do I create my experience? It depends, what do you mean by I? If by I you mean the I, the personal self-I, then the answer is no, that is created. It's like when you sleep at night, during the night dream, you dream of, you're a 10-year-old girl. That is created, that 10-year-old girl is created by you. Is a dream character that is your creation, and it is created, it does not create anything, it is created by you, the dreamer. It is made out of you. It is an image or a thought that you're conceiving, you're dreaming it. So the question, do I create my experience? No, the personal self does not create anything, it is created. But consciousness, the real true I as consciousness, that takes on the form of this very perception, creates everything. Creates all sensations, all perceptions, all dreams. And that, the consciousness that you are, the consciousness that I am, that is not created, is not born. Every moment, every instant, there is a birth and death of this perception, of this sensation. But the awareness, the consciousness, does not born and die. It is not in time and space. Time and space are an impression that consciousness takes on that form, takes on the form of time and space, out of its freedom and sense of play and its love for, the surprise. We love the surprise, don't we? We go to the theater, we don't know what it's going to be like, what is the play going to be like. But we enjoy, or maybe we don't, depending what it is. But there is a surprise. We like that. That's the freedom of consciousness. Consciousness loves the play that we call life, this moment. And when consciousness starts to recollect, starts to remember that it is the creator, that it is, the dreamer of all dreams, it starts to return to its fullness, to its wholeness. It's always whole and complete, but the dream becomes sweeter, loving, and peaceful, and kind, and very lovely. Because the dream starts to take on the qualities of consciousness. It starts to, even in the dream, there is the perfume of consciousness pervades the dream. And the dream becomes a sweet dream that has no angst in it. The angst is strictly when we separate ourselves, meaning when we believe that we are separate people, that we are a person, that we are a body-mind, that we are a mortal character. You are the awareness, the presence, the borderless presence that perceives all perceptions, which is the peace and the happiness. uh, Kathy, oh, you're welcome, Kathy. Does it feel like a place when you are in that peace? No, no, it just feels like a peace and love and tranquility, you know, like it's so natural. It's deeply still, alive and peaceful and happy. Free, meaning a causeless happiness. Well, you have some homework to do, Kathy. So, you know, just once you are on the path of truth, it starts with an interest and then it turns into more and more of an interest, and at some point it becomes love and passion, and that takes you home. It takes you home. Okay, so be open that love the path. Love the path, not just the end result, not just the other shore. Love the entire journey, because this journey is eternal. It's the eternal presence. And when you start to love the journey, you're loving God, because every moment is God's creation. And if we love one part of the journey more than the other, we are questioning God's gifts. Okay, just speaking in religious terms here, okay? Okay, thank you for your lovely company. Thank you for your questions and for your presence, and very lovely to see you, and see you again soon, yes? Okay.
Thank you, Magdi.
Yes, you're welcome, Linda. You know, you're welcome. Kathy told me just a minute. She's typing something. How do I do the microphone? Ooh, okay. The first thing, Kathy, is on the Hangout. You're fine. You did get. One moment. Let me just double check one more time.